Our regular secretary, Megan, is not here tonight, and I know it's a busy week, so we'll try to go over this quickly. We've called the meeting to order, and I did want to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of May 3rd, which was our last meeting. This is a regular meeting, so we can approve minutes. Can we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, is that Waddy?
Yeah.
Okay, and second by Ann?
Yep.
Right, okay. Are there any comments or questions about, or corrections about the minutes? Okay, all those in favor of approving the May 3rd minutes, raise your hand. All right, I believe that, okay. Is there anyone opposed? Or any abstentions? Okay, I believe that was unanimous. Okay, thank you all. All right, the next item on the agenda relates to a request that the Board of Ed made for purchase of an upgraded security system. And this was a discussion that they had last week on Tuesday. So it's a fairly recent situation to come to us. Duke Deneen is here, I believe. Still, are you still here, Duke?
Yes, I am, Clara.
Oh, good. Okay, and I wondered if you could give us kind of an overview. I think, as everyone knows, we don't usually discuss security in public, but if you could give us an overview of the points that are appropriate relating to this request.
Sure, Clara. Thank you, and good evening.
You.
Appreciate some of your time. Dr. Adley and the administration have been going through kind of a look at security, somewhat as a new superintendent, but on a regular basis, that's what we do. We do it a lot in conjunction with the police department. We have protocols and an emergency and security book that's reviewed and submitted to the state on an annual basis. And Dr. Adley presented an upgrade to some technology and a security system that's deployed throughout the schools. We discussed it over the course of several sessions with Dr. Adley, one session also with the Darien police. And so we have moved forward in supporting that upgrade to the security system. And the work can be done over the course of the summer, which makes sense. It will be in all the schools other than Ox Ridge, which will maintain the existing security system in there, which is safe and fine. But the new security system will be part of the new Ox Ridge building once that is ready for the installation of that as that project proceeds. So at a high level, I believe Dr. Adley mentioned it, it is a lockdown, lockout system. So that should give you a little indication of what it is. So I'll pause there and, see what kind of questions you folks have.
Are there any questions for Duke? No. I don't see anyone with a hand raised. Is that accurate, or does someone have questions?
Yeah. Hey, Clara, I have.
Okay, Peter.
I have more. I want to more than the question. I want to say something. So if anybody else has a question, but it's obviously related. This is very important for all of us, right? This topic and. Maybe it's worth repeating. I know it's obvious to everybody, but maybe it's worth repeating that the safety and security of all students, teachers, and administrators is the #1 responsibility of the district management and Board of Education. And at the same time, and for obvious reasons, it is the one area where our community at large has limited input and relies most on the wisdom of the 12 Board of Education members. So I've urged them that after full discussions with the Darien Police Department, who is very knowledgeable on this topic based on my discussions with them, to not only think through incremental demands and requests like this one when we're replacing one system for another, but also feel free to propose to us any step changes, even if they mean higher one-time or ongoing expenditures, whether it's number of SROs, whether it's all the other things that are out there, but please feel free to bring them. And then we as a community decide whether, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, or whatever the number is, it's obviously worth it. And I guess the key lens for me on questions of, on this sensitive topic and all these questions, and hopefully it's the same for you, is, when I listen to you and think about it, really there are two questions for me. Number one is, do we have the best and most secure system in the country for this type of school and office building system? And if not, why not? And number two, have we done everything we could on this? And I don't expect you to answer them. And in fact, they probably shouldn't be answering this in this forum, but as you go through it, Duke, please think about it. And I know you all do. And I appreciate that you taking this initiative, and Dr. Adler is putting more money into it, but feel free on this one to ask for more. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I think your points are spot on. I will tell you that I think Dr. Adley starts out most conversations with his number one job is the safety and security of our students and our staff. And I think the board is right there with him in terms of our number one priority of the safety of our students. And I think our schools are incredibly safe. I think working with our police department and doing community policing, working hand in hand with them, and, the individual school leaders, we have a good program in place that is constantly reviewed and looked at for what we need. And I don't think we would ever be, I appreciate the offer, sincerely hesitant about coming forward in the appropriate way, based on the fact that it's security with what our needs may be. So I appreciate that. Perfect points. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Duke? I don't see anyone, but if you want to speak up. I had one question. Duke, this was not in the budget this year. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So Clara, thank you. It's a great point. And the question has come up before. So the total system is 325. We have 100 in capital already that we were going to use for some upgrades. So that will be put toward this. It did not come up during the normal budget cycle because they were undergoing kind of the review and looking at vendors. And it was nothing that we wanted to rush just to get into a budget cycle, knowing we have the support of, the RTM Education, RTM F&B, the Board of Finance to do security when we need it. So it did not fall in the normal budget cycle.
And as I'm reading this, there are two alternatives here in terms of getting the funding. One is that the Board of Finance could take the 200,000 or 225 from their accounts, and the other is that it could go to the RTM. Is that right?
That's the way I believe Jack Davis has laid it out. I believe the Board of Finance has their meeting tomorrow evening, so they'll decide the funding direction.
Okay, so for us tonight, I guess what we're going to do is try to be prepared in the event that the RTM is going to need to decide to release the funds. It may be that the Board of Finance does it all tomorrow and we don't have to do this, but by way of providing this information to the public and providing it to the RTM, that's the reason that we are having this discussion and vote. Is everybody in agreement that we should go forward with a vote on this tonight?
I am, yes.
Yes.
Any
Yes.
questions about it? Yes.
Yeah.
Barbara.
I would like to make a comment that Jack Davis forwarded to us a couple plans, and I thought that was very helpful in kind of laying out some alternatives that were very reasonable, and I thought really addressed the issues. And yes, I think we ought to decide if we support this and then go with whatever the Board of Finance decides is most appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
right.
think Jack did send the information out, which I forwarded to everybody. I hope you got it. I also forwarded the link to last week's Board of Ed meeting on June 8th, where the discussion very briefly did take place about this. So I guess the best thing to do now, is there any more discussion about this at all? I don't see anybody, any hands up, so speak up. Okay.
Do you want a motion?
I do want a motion, and I'm wondering if you could read it, or do you want to read it, or do you want to just make it on your own?
I'll just make it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I move we support this, a plan to augment the safety of our schools, and that the funding be appropriate based upon what the Board of Finance and or the RTM needs to know and decide, but that we move forward with it.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay. All right. I'll just read the resolution that Jack sent, okay, which I think supports what Barbara just said. To authorize the resolution of the RTM in Darien to authorize the special request from the Darien Board of Education for the purpose of a school, for the purchase of a school facilities security capital project in the amount of $325,000 to be offset by the use of an existing Board of Education capital security projects unused funds in the amount of $100,000. That means they have, as Duke said, $100,000, which they found in their budget. So they need $225,000, and that will be funded by a special appropriation from the town's general fund, or to be funded by the use of reserved fund for capital and non-recurring expenditures. So the Board of Finance has control over that reserve fund. And if they decide to use that, that will be fine. If they don't, the RTM will take the request from the town's general fund. So I think that's the wording for the resolution. So, and I would say that Barbara and Ann have moved, and we now can vote. All those in favor of supporting this resolution, raise your hand. And I think I'm going to call on you just because our secretary can't always see. Okay, so Barbara.
Yeah, right, yes.
Yes. Wadi,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Karen McNichol,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
Carolina,
Yes.
Liza,
Yes.
me, yes. Did I skip anybody? Is there anybody opposed? Are there any abstentions? Okay, it appears that the resolution passed unanimously. Okay. Any comments or questions?
So Clara, it's Duke. I just want to again say thank you. I always appreciate spending time with you folks, and thank you again for all the support and the questions and for your focus on our students in town. We're headed toward graduation on Wednesday. The weather looks good. It will be outdoors with no masks. So
Oh, that's exciting.
we're excited for our students that are graduating. I just came from a senior awards ceremony that was very special. So things are somewhat getting back to normal. And just again, thank you for all the support from the RTM and the RTM budget and RTM education. Much appreciated.
Okay, well, we certainly appreciate all that the Board of Ed and the administration has done this year to get the schools as normal as possible during a pandemic. And it's no small task. So I'm relieved that the year will end on a positive note. Is there any other business for the RTM Education Committee to take up this evening? I don't see anybody's hand or hear from anybody. Right, okay, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Okay, how about
second.
Wadi?
Yep.
And is there a second?
I second Carolina.
Okay, Carolina, great. All those in favor? Assume
Aye.
that's
Aye.
unanimous. Okay, I'm not going to do
Aye.
the roll call. Okay, so it's 7:19. Thank you all for your time this evening, and enjoy the warm weather that might come, and stay well. We will see you all.
Thanks,
at-
Clara.
Thanks
Thank
to
you.
Mike Wheeler.
Thank you, Clara. Thank you,
All
Dean.
right,
Thanks to Mike
everybody.
Wheeler too.